Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. The Israelites have been scattered across the four corners of the earth, as prophesied in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. Here in Israel United in Christ, we need your help to recover the remnant of our people, teach them the gospel. Please help us, support us, and join or donate to the Booster Club today. Shalom.
All right, so the title of this class is When the Cock Crows, Debunking the Sunrise Sabbath. When the Cock Crows, Debunking the Sunrise Sabbath. And I want to open this up right where they open up because the whole doctrine is based upon pretty much one scripture. It's a doctrine of one scripture. And it's like, all right, so let's start right with the one scripture that they built the whole doctrine on, which is Matthew 28:1.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake.
So wait a minute, wait. Read that one more time.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began.
In the what?
In the end of the Sabbath.
Okay.
As it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the sepulchre, right? So this is the foundational scripture that they used to build this doctrine, this unclean doctrine of Sunrise Sabbath. So let's move forward, and I'm not even going to deal with this as of yet. First thing I want to do is go to the scriptures that they brought to me when they brought me this doctrine, right?
Right.
So I want to get Mark 16, chapter 1. Mark chapter 16, verse 1. Excuse me.
The book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 1. And when the Sabbath was passed, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. And very early in the morning.
And then very early in the morning, go ahead.
The first day of the week.
The first day of the week.
They came unto the sepulchre at the rising of the sun.
So it said they came at the rising of the sun, right? So wait a minute. Now let's go to Luke. I'm just reading the scriptures that they presented to me. Luke 24:1. So they said based upon these, this means that a day starts when it's sunrise. That's when the day starts.
The book of Luke, chapter 24, verse 1. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came unto the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them.
So it says very early in the morning. They're picking words out of here, and they said, see, early, very early in the morning. Rising of the sun. And they said, see, dawn. Meaning, when the sun goes up. And then even like Deacon Lava, he said, yeah, dawn means dark. And they all like, oh man, Deacon, that's wrong. Let's find out. Let's see if the deacon is wrong. So let's go back. We're going to figure that out. Go to John 20.
The book of John. Chapter 20, verse 1.
So these are the Gospels. In the Gospels, you had all these different brothers that was there, and they saw the exact same event at the exact same time. And they wrote about it. So you have multiple accounts of the exact same event. Now let's hear John's account of the same event.
The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre.
Okay, so she got there, and John says it was dark. He says it was yet dark. So wait a minute. Now we have a discrepancy. We have a discrepancy. So before we even do, I want to go back. Let's go back to the group, which is Matthew 28:1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week.
At the end of the Sabbath, it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. So the Sabbath has already passed. And now it's a time period between the passing of the time of the Sabbath, right? And them coming to the sepulcher. It's a time period. It's not like, oh, the Sabbath ended and they got up out of Sabbath class and walked away and said, oh, we're going straight to the sepulcher. It's a time period because, well, I'll walk there. I'll get there and naturally. I'll get there naturally. So, dawn, that's the thing that's causing a lot of problems for these brothers and sisters. They're looking at the word dawn and they're saying that means sunshine.
Right.
Pull up the definition of dawn for me, please.
Right.
All right, read that.
This is the definition of dawn. The first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise.
It's the first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise. Now, that's the definition of dawn. Before sunrise. Dawn is what? It's before sunrise. Now, they're using this definition to say that, oh, it's light outside because it says what? Read that again. The first what?
The first appearance of light.
They said the first appearance of light, meaning sunrise. But no, it's telling you the sun isn't even risen yet. It's before sunrise. Before sunrise. So we gotta dig a little more. All right, I got something in there inside of the documents, and it should say dawn. Okay, so now we got a chart, and on the chart it shows, on the photo it shows you the transition from night to day. And inside of that transition you have the 3 stages of dawn, which is astronomical dawn, nautical dawn, and civil dawn. And you have, what you can see, it starts at night, and then part of the transition is into astronomical dawn, then nautical, then civil. And then at the horizon, as you can see, one peak of the sun breaking the horizon. And that's when it goes into the sunrise part, right? That's sunrise. So, wait a minute. We got to dig more into this dawn because they're saying that dawn means light. And I'm looking and I see multiple instances of dawn not being sunrise. It's a difference between dawn and sunrise. There's a difference between dawn and sunrise in the definition that they're using. But let's get some more. Let's go to, I got something in there that says Dawn Wiki. Let me get that. All right, read that.
This is dawn from Wikipedia. Dawn, from an Old English verb, degayan, to become day, is the time that marks the beginning of twilight before sunrise. It is recognized by the...
Wait. It marks the time between twilight what?
Is the time that marks the beginning of twilight before sunrise.
Before sunrise. So dawn happens before sunrise. Go ahead.
It is recognized by the appearance of indirect sunlight being scattered in the atmosphere. When the center of the sun's disk reaches 18 degrees below the horizon, this dawn-twilight period will last until sunrise.
So wait. Now let's go back and look at that picture again. Let's get that picture again. Because it says, the light, hold on, read the wiki again and then let's pull up that picture.
It says, is the time that marks the beginning of twilight before sunrise. It is recognized by the appearance of indirect sunlight being scattered in the atmosphere. When the center of the sun's disk reaches 18 degrees below the horizon.
That's what I wanted. When the sun's disk reaches 18 degrees below the horizon, read.
This dawn twilight period will last until sunrise.
So that period of dawn lasts from that point, from the 18 degrees until sunrise. So dawn is not sunrise, it's a period before sunrise. Let's go back to that picture. All right, so now, at 18 degrees, that's astronomical dawn at 18 degrees. Remember that. 18 degrees is the time period of the beginning of dawn. And that's that's before nautical dawn. That's before civil dawn. Astronomical dawn is the closest to night, right? Give me the thing I got in there that says dawn, dusk, sunrise. Now, scroll down in the wiki. Hold on. Wait. Slow down. Astronomical dawn, because that's what we're dealing with right now. It's saying the astronomical dawn is the first step at 18 degrees, right?
Yes, sir.
Read astronomical dawn.
Astronomical dawn. Astronomical twilight begins when the sky is no longer completely dark after astronomical dawn. This occurs when the sun is 18 degrees below the horizon in the morning. At this point, a very small portion of the sun's rays illuminate the sky, and the fainter stars begin to disappear. Astronomical dawn is often indistinguishable from night.
Wait a minute. What?
Astronomical dawn is often indistinguishable from night.
So wait a minute. That stage that we just read about, the astronomical dawn, is indistinguishable, meaning you cannot tell the difference between astronomical dawn and night. You can't tell the difference. When you at astronomical dawn, you can't tell the difference between that and night. Now, go back to the definition of dawn. I want to touch that one more time because this is the definition that they're using with Matthew 28 and 1 is saying, oh, see, sunrise Sabbath. This makes no sense. Read that, get that definition again.
Dawn, the first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise.
The first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise is astronomical dawn. And we just read that astronomical dawn is indistinguishable between that and night. So what are they talking about? Where are they getting this from? But let's go deeper. Let's get more. So that way nobody can sit back and say that, oh, well, no, well, they missed this point, or I said this. No, we're going to deal with every last one of these points because they make no sense. Make no sense. People following this, they mean, and a lot of them walking around saying, oh, study, show yourself approved, brother. Study. Did you study? What did you study to come up with this foolishness? So that's what I want to know. And they yelling, study. Right. And then we just got to this quick and easy. And that already debunks. Already is debunked. Yeah. It's debunked. It's done now. It's cooked. Right. It's over with. Mm-hmm. All right, so we can leave, right? It's done.
Pack up and go.
Pack it up. No, we're not going to pack it up because we can throw some more dirt on it. Yeah. Let's continue to bury this dumb doctrine. Mm-hmm. So now, let's get some more. Then the brother came to me and he said, all right, well, we read John 20, right? Then he went to John 20 and 19. I think that's right. Let me look at it. Let's go to Matthew 26 and 19. Let's go there. Because the event that they're talking about in Matthew 28 and 1 is after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. But why aren't they going backwards into the crucifixion of Jesus Christ to get more information? It's there. This is the situation at hand. There's more information in there. Let's go back into it. Let's read about more into the crucifixion and get more information out of it to see if this sunrise doctrine makes sense. We're going to go to Matthew 26 and 19 now.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 19. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover.
So Jesus had the disciples get ready for Passover. They're preparing. They're making preparations for Passover, right? They had to find a place to keep Passover. They had to get the lamb. They had to get everything ready for Passover. So he's like, get that together. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me.
Wait a minute. So that night at even, they kept Passover. They were preparing for Passover all through the day, and then once the night came, they actually kept Passover. So Passover started at that evening, right? Okay. So now, according to the doctrine, Passover would go through the night, and then when it becomes light again, it's a whole new day. So Passover is only 12 hours. So that means that whole day of Passover is only 12 hours, according to these brothers. And not just that, then that means also the day before Passover, when it got light before Passover, they said that 12 hours was a day. And then when they got to Passover, that started, because Passover started a new day. It wasn't Passover before it got dark. It wasn't Passover until it got dark. So that means once it got dark, that began Passover. So they had a 12-hour day starting before Passover, and then and Passover itself was only 12 hours, right? So guess what the next day going to be? 12 hours.
12 hours. Not 24.
We're going to find out, because the way it worked, I guess it's 12-hour days now. This is what you have to believe to go with this doctrine. Understand that. So now, where was we at? We was in John 19, right?
We stopped at verse
26.
And we stopped at 26. Let's go to John chapter 21. No, we was in, where was we? We was in Matthew, right?
Yeah, we went to Matthew 26.
Right, that's where it was at. Okay. Well, now, watch this. Go to John, because they say it's 12 hours in a day, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get it. Let's go to John 11 and 9. John 11 and 9.
The book of John, chapter 11 and verse 9. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day?
See? There's 12 hours in the day, brothers. The day is only 12 hours. Only the day part. The night part we skip. We don't even deal with that. That's over with. No, that has nothing to do with anything. Right. And then when it get light again, another 12. Mm-hmm. 12 hours in the day, see? Mm-hmm. Yay, we done.
Let's all leave.
Let's all leave.
Yeah, look, I want to do that only, then they say, man, a man don't work at night. Right. Some people, like myself, I start work when it's dark. Mm-hmm. When I get up, look, it's dawn, and it's pitch black outside. I can't tell the difference between that and astronomical dawn. Indistinguishable. But let's get some 12 hours in a day, and I'm going to show you where they confused it. Matter of fact, while I'm getting this, I want you to pull up in there, I got something that says hours. Should be a clock. Let's get the clock, because this clock shows this is how time was kept in ancient times. This is the way we kept it. This is the way the Hebrew clock worked. Get it all on the screen for me, please. The whole clock. All right. So now, when you're looking at this clock, you see it's 12 hours in the day, meaning the light part of it is 1 through 12. And then it goes into the night part of it, and it's 12 hours in the night as well, which makes 24 hours in a complete day. But let's get some understanding on that. Let's go to Acts chapter 2 and verse 15.
The book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 15. For these are not drunken as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day.
So wait a minute. It was the third hour of the day. They said, no, this is, when you understand the history of what we're reading right here, this is the time of Pentecost, when the brothers, the prophets and apostles got the Spirit of Christ, though. They got the Spirit on them, and they start speaking in tongues, right? And they saying, and then somebody was like, well, maybe they're drunk. Mm-hmm. Could they be drunk? And they're like, no, they're not drunk. It's only the third hour of this day, of the day. So now they may be saying day. See, yeah, that's the whole day. No, they're saying the third hour of the day. Let's go back to the clock. The third hour of the day would be, what is that about? It would be
10.
about 10, 11, something like that. Anywhere between 9 and 11, somewhere around that, right? Third hour of the day. Well, I said 9, between 10 and 11, right? Okay, third hour of the day. About 10 and 11 in the morning. They said it's too early for them to be drunk. But so that was the third hour of the day. Watch this stuff. Let's get Acts 23:23.
The book of Acts, chapter 23, verse 23. And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, Make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200 at the third hour of the night.
Wait a minute. He's doing this at when? The third hour of the night. It's 12 hours in a day and 12 hours in the night to make a complete 24-hour day. So wait a minute. Now, when is the third hour of the day? I can't see the clock myself, but it starts counting where the 12th hour ends on the other side. So, grit me, watch this. Look up, let me see. I don't know if I put it in there. Look up ancient Hebrew clock or times. Scroll. All right. This is what we mean. So it was the third hour of the night. 9 p.m. And that's about 9 p.m. Read that scripture again for me, sir.
Acts chapter
23:23.
23, verse 20. Called unto him 2 centurions, saying, Make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200 at the third hour of the night.
So you have 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in the night. This was the 9th hour of the night, the third hour of the night, which is, now the other chart, it is, what is that? 9th hour. Wait. I said 9th. It was third hour. 9 p.m. The third hour of the night is 9 p.m. So that's the time. So wait a minute. Wait. So go back to that clock, the hours one. Yep, that. So over there at the third hour, that's about 9 p.m. So it's showing, and that's why I use those scriptures, because it shows that the third hour of the day and the third hour of the night. So, and now we know, now we have a better concept of the time that we're dealing with here. And we understand that they dealt with the whole 24 hours, not this 12-hour clock that they're using for this doctrine.
Right.
So now, let's go to Matthew 26 and 19 again.
Book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 19. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the even was come,
Now the even came.
he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I?
So now, drop down to verse 30. So we're going back to that same account. It was Passover. Passover started at even. When did it start? The first hour of the night. So wait a minute. So we're at the first hour of the night, and it is now Passover.
That's right.
Read.
When they had, verse 30, and when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then said Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. And Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended.
So he's letting them know, this is after they ate the Passover, right? They sang a hymn, and then they went out, and he's letting them know that, look, this night, this is after he already dealt with Judas and betraying them. All of that stuff was already dealt with. This is all still the same Passover night. And he's telling them that, listen, he didn't get to that part yet. But he's letting you know, every one of y'all going to be offended because of me this night. It said, Where is that at?
Go back.
Go back. I want to get that.
Verse 31.
Uh-huh.
Then saith Jesus unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night.
Not the next night?
This night.
This night. This same very night, which is still Passover, he says they will be offended of him. That night, right? Read from, now let's drop down to verse 69.
Verse 69. Now Peter sat without in the palace. And
Wait, I'm sorry. Go back. We didn't read 34.
Verse 34. Jesus saith unto him, Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice.
He says, before the cock crow, you're going to deny me 3 times. 3 times this night before the cock crow. Now drop down to 69.
Verse 69. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and the damsel came unto him, saying, thou also was with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were there, this fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him, after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. Mm-hmm. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly.
So wait a minute. So he said that you would deny me 3 times before the cock crew, right? Then the cock did crow. Wait a minute. When does a cock crow? I guess we need to know that. We trying to figure out the time frame. So we need to know, when does a cock crow? Let's get that. I got something in there called cock crow experiment. Let's see the cock crow experiment, because what's happening is they was doing scientific experiments on roosters, and they wanted to find out if they changed the environment, changed the lighting conditions, changed everything around the rooster, would it still crow at the same time? And there's been multiple experiments done on this. Well, I want to read this one. Cock crow experiment.
This is how a rooster knows.
Blow it up. Okay. I mean, I don't care about the words, not the picture. There we go.
This is how a rooster knows to crock at dawn by Jane J. Lee.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What the title say?
How a rooster knows to crow at dawn.
How a rooster knows to crow at dawn. The rooster crows at dawn. So when it said in Matthew chapter 26 and 75, and it says, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice, and he wept bitterly. This is after the cock. So the cock crowed at dawn. At dawn. Dawn is when the cock crows. Read from the article.
Back before alarm clocks jolted us awake to greet the morning with bleary-eyed confusion, roosters performed their daily duty. Now a new study shows that roosters don't need the light of a new day to know when it's dawn. Rather, their internal clocks alert them to the time.
So wait a minute. The way that God has constructed this animal is that regardless of the lighting conditions, that animal knows when it's dawn. And that animal will crow by nature. Read.
While researchers at Nagoya University in Japan were studying the genetic underpinnings of innate vocalizations, or non-learned behaviors such as crowing in chickens, they discovered that the male birds don't need external light cues to know when to start crowing. To our surprise, nobody has demonstrated the involvement of the biological clock in this well-known phenomenon experimentally. Study co-author Takashi Yashiruma, who specializes in biological clocks at Nagoya University, said in an email.
Look, that's Asian, so they like, yeah, that gotta be something. Go ahead.
During their experiments, Yoshiruma and colleague Tsuyoshi Shimura, also at Nagoya University, put PNP roosters, an inbred strain of chickens used often in laboratories because of their genetic similarities, through 2 different light regimens. In the first experiment, roosters experienced 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dim light conditions for 14 days. The scientists found that the roosters would start to crow 2 hours before the onset of light.
Wait a minute, wait. They crowed when?
The scientists found that the roosters would start to crow 2 hours before the onset of light.
So wait a minute. This is letting you know what? The time period between night and sunrise is at least 2 hours. That's why when you get up at dawn and you go to work and you're working, the first couple of hours is still dark. Then sunrise happens. So wait a minute, it's dark during that time. Now that's all I need with that. Now I want something I have in there that says, do roosters crow at dawn? So I don't understand this doctrine. I don't understand them saying, oh, study, brother, study. I don't understand. I'm lost. I don't understand what they're saying. I'm studying. I'm doing it. And your doctrine does not work. It makes no sense. But we're going to get some more. Give me that.
What time does the cock crow? What time does the cock crow by Crystal DaCosta? Keep going. The experience of time. Time is a measure of events, duration, and change. Thanks to coordinated universal time, we share a basis for discussing time. It helps structure our expectations. I may be at my desk at 9, but I understand that colleagues in California are likely still in bed. Global clock time tells me that 11 Eastern Standard Time, I can reasonably expect them to be at their desks. However, our experiences with time may differ in accordance with local observances even along the same latitude. While it may indeed be 5 o'clock somewhere, what people may choose to do at that time may differ greatly from place to place. The meaning of 5 o'clock can vary greatly.
Now scroll down. I'm trying to find what I'm looking. Hold on, wait. Scroll down a little more. Slower. Scroll down. Yeah, I want from original. Just call it. What, you saw something else? Oh, go back up. Get what you want.
I'm reading despite.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Despite. It says, despite the standardization offered by the clock, time is an intersubjective experience. Though we don't often consider it, local context can inform our temporal awareness in subtle ways. For example, consider the role roosters have played in keeping time.
Keep going.
Keep going. All right. A religious calling. Archaeological evidence reveals an abundance of domestic fowl in the Middle Ages. And for a sustainable community to have existed, breeding would be for a sustainable community to have existed, breeding would have been.
Yeah, they would have been necessary. Yeah, I don't know.
To have existed, breeding would have been necessary, which would have required roosters, who appeared to have a prominent role in calling practitioners to pre-dawn devotions. In the 6th century, cockcrow constituted one of the 4 periods of nighttime devotion for monasteries that followed
Wait a second. The cockcrow did what?
Constituted one of the 4 periods of nighttime devotion.
Nighttime devotion. Wait a minute. They're saying that when the cock crowed, it starts the nighttime devotion, meaning it was dark when the cock was crowing. Go ahead, let's get some more of this.
In the 6th century, cockcrow constituted one of the 4 periods of nighttime devotion for monasteries that followed the precepts maintained by the rule of the master, which required psalms be said at nightfall, midnight, cockcrow, and in the morning. The period denoted by the rooster's crow helped manage devotions in the face of seasonal changes. Psalms were said prior to the cock crow in the winter and after the cock crow in the summer to account for the shifting durations of darkness. Roosters also alerted those living beyond the immediate reach of religious orders to ready themselves for morning devotions with their noisy pronouncements.
All right, so that's all we need. So wait a minute. Now we see that it's a specific time period that the cock will crow, which is at dawn, which is dark, right?
Right before the morning.
Before sunrise. Before. And we understand that they crow at astronomical dawn, which is when the sun is 18 degrees below the horizon. Wait a minute. And when it's astronomical dawn, it is indistinguishable from nighttime. Indistinguishable. You can't tell the difference. You don't know. It's just, I don't know. It all looks the same. You can't tell.
Can I get one scripture?
Oh, go ahead.
Give me one scripture. Could you go to Matthew 13 and 35?
This is the book of Matthew,
Uh-huh.
chapter 13, verse 35.
Yep.
That it might be
In fact,
fulfilled.
I'm sorry. Start at 34.
Verse 34.
Yeah.
All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables. Without a parable spake he not unto them.
Okay.
That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the...
Where are you?
Verse 36.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what you're looking for.
I said Mark, didn't I?
No, you said Matthew.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's start up.
No, Mark.
Hey, you can get Mark.
I'm
Mark
sorry.
13.
Right.
13.
Give me 13 and start in 34.
Mark chapter 13, verse 34.
34 and 35. The point I want is down to 35.
For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight,
or at midnight,
or at the cock crowing,
or at the cock crowing, and we just established when the cock crows, go ahead,
or in the morning.
or in the morning. So this parable here out of Christ's mouth is showing you the different dispensation of time. So it's showing you at even, at midnight, at the cock crowing, and then in the morning. The same way that you just brought out.
Yeah, all praises to the Most High. So again, this doctrine makes no sense. It's hard to make sense of this. It does not add up. So let's get some more though. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 26. Let's get that. Matthew 26. Because what are we dealing with? We're dealing with the time frame of the whole crucifixion. And that's how we're using that to make a map of time. We're going to map out all of the time that we can find in here and map it out so we can see when things were happening. Because they're just jumping straight to 2081. Right. Well, what led up to it? How did we get there? Let's understand that. Come on.
19.
Let me get 26 and 75 again.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 75. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly.
So he denied him 3 times before the cock crew, right? Or crowed. I don't even say that.
I don't know.
Crow, crew.
Uh-huh.
Cock crow.
What? Crow?
Crow.
You got it?
The cock crow.
Crew?
Okay.
You sure? All right. Doc says that's
Yeah,
what
Doc
it
says
is. All right.
crow.
I'm going to lean on Doc.
The cock crew.
All right. So, all right. So, but the point is all this happened. They had Passover. They ate it. He went out. We skipped some stuff. He went. He prayed. Right?
Yeah.
He did all of that, and then some other stuff happened. They came. They got him. He was abducted, taken before the Pharisees, right? They examined him.
Mhm.
Chapter 27 and 1. Let's read on down.
Matthew chapter 27, verse 1. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death.
Wait a minute. When did they do this?
When the morning was come.
This is the same day. The same day. This is still Passover.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. That night he went, he prayed 3 times, he got abducted. Judas turned him in, right? And then they took him and then they had him and they took him to the Pharisees. And in the morning, the chief priests and elders took counsel to put him to death. They did that. So they was going through this all night. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. When they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor.
They did this. Now they did that all through the night. And now in the morning, they're doing this. Peter denied him 3 times before it got morning, right? Because he was watching as they were persecuting him.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Because remember, he said you're gonna. Because remember, he said you're gonna betray me before, or you're gonna deny me before the cock crowed 3 times. Right?
Yeah.
So here is what you see in the morning. They came and got him. The cock had already crowed. Now it's that morning, and now he's going through his persecution.
Right. So now we know according to the chart. Pull that chart back up with the hours. Pull that chart back up. So now, Passover began at the first hour of the night because that was when the even came in, the first hour of the night. And now they went through the whole night. All of the things happened, transpired, which is the praying the 3 times and then falling asleep while he was praying. All of that happened throughout the night, right? He got sold out by Judas Iscariot. All of that happened throughout the night. And then before the cock crew, he denied him 3 times, which is still, the cock crows at dawn. So it's still dark. So throughout that time is the period of time when he's being persecuted by the chief priests and the Pharisees and the scribes, right? Before they delivered him unto Pilate. Then in the morning, they bound him and they took him to Pilate. So right now, let's just say, the whole 12 hours of the night have now transpired. But that's only 12 hours. Oh, there's more to the day than 12 hours? Oh, okay. So now we have to deal with the other side of it.
12 hours.
Let's get that. And it began that night.
Right.
Oh, okay. Come on. Wait, I didn't tell you what to read. Drop down 35.
What verse?
Verse 35. Matthew 26, 27, 35.
Yes, sir. Matthew chapter 27, verse 35. And they crucified him.
So wait a minute. So more time transpired, and we know that he was scourged by the Romans, right? All this stuff happened. Who do you want to? He gave us a choice to keep Jesus or Barabbas. All this stuff has transpired, right? And now they're crucifying him in the same morning or in the same daytime part now, right? Come on.
And they crucified him and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots.
Drop down to 45.
Verse 45.
So they're crucifying him, right? Go ahead.
Now from the 6th hour.
Wait a minute. What time?
The 6th hour.
Now we have time again that we can measure. Let's go back to the clock. The 6th hour, right? Now give me that chart that tells me what the 6th hour is. What time that is. 6th hour of the day is, that's noon. So it's noon. It's 12 noon when he was being crucified, right? Or did I miss something?
No.
It was the 6th hour and there was darkness all over the land until the 9th hour.
Same day.
This is still the same day. What's the 9th hour? Let me see the chart. Until 3 p.m. So between 12 and 3, there was darkness over all the land. Did we have a 3-hour night right quick? That's what we had?
No.
You know something about this 3-hour night? I'm not up on the 3-hour night thing. So what is this? What could it be?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only thing that can make it dark in the middle of the day is what? Other than the Most High just doing what he want to do is an eclipse.
Right.
Now you have an eclipse. That can make it dark in the middle of the day. It's 12 noon. Why would it be dark for 3 hours all of a sudden? Okay, so, but we have the times. We can go with the time. They gave us the time. We don't have to guess the time. We don't have to hope on the time.
Mm-hmm.
They told us the time. They told us what time it was.
Right.
And we understand that he went up on the cross at 12 noon. He died at 3 p.m. He was on the cross for 3 hours. But let's continue to read it. Because I don't want somebody to say, oh, it didn't say it. Well, we're going to read it. Get it. Keep reading.
Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, This man calleth for Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, Let be, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake and the rocks rent.
So wait a minute. What time did he die? The 9th hour. This was the 9th hour.
Right.
All of this stuff happened at the 9th hour. And he died at the 9th hour. Of the same day. Which is what? 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. 3 p.m. Let's get some more. So we're going to go to Mark 2 and 28.
The book of Mark, chapter 2 and verse 28. Therefore,
That's why I'm glad we got the Gospels, because you can just go back and forth and they talking about the same events.
And so that's precept upon precept, right?
Oh, precept, that's studying.
Right. And it says to get understanding, how do you do it? Just read one scripture and close the book?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you go precept upon precept to get the understanding? So you can't just read Matthew 28 and say, oh, see, it says dawn. And then that's the end of it. No, you have to get precept upon precept to get the understanding.
Right. And they don't even understand the dawn part. They lost. Even in the definition that they use, it's letting you know that dawn and sunrise are two different things.
Right.
In the definition that they're using, that's got them confused.
right.
You got something? Okay. All right. So let's get this. Let's get Mark 2:28. So he died. When would he rise again?
The book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 28. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath.
So when would he rise? On the Sabbath. He would rise again on the Sabbath. Now go to Matthew 12 and 40.
This is the book of Matthew,
Oh, yeah, we're going to examine this a bit here.
chapter 12 and verse 40.
Come on.
For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly,
Wait a minute. Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly.
so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
He said he's going to be in the heart of the earth the same way. 3 days and 3 nights, just like Jonah was in the belly of the fish. 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. See how he made sure to mention both parts? 3 days and 3 nights.
So it was specific.
Oh, it's specific. But now they would read this and say, see, he said days first. See? I'm confused again. Well, then we still have the history on our hands that we can continue to look into to see what that meant. How did it go?
Right.
Because he died at what? 3 p.m., the 9th hour. Let's get a little more then. Let's go to Mark 16. Or am I saying that? Yeah, Mark. Yeah, let's go to Mark 16. Let me look at this. Hold up, wait a minute. Let me look. Mark 16 and 1.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 1. And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. And very early in the morning, the first day of the week, they came unto the sepulchre at the rising of the sun. And they said among themselves, who shall roll us away the stone from the door of the sepulchre?
So they came when? Very early in the morning, the first day of the week, which is what day? Sunday. The seventh day of the week is Saturday. So they came after after the Sabbath, and they came on the first day of the week. All right, just bear with me. Drop down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Now, when Jesus was risen early the first day of the week.
Now, is this saying that he rose on the first day of the week? No, it's saying, this just telling you he had already been risen and it was the first day of the week. Read it again. Come on.
Now, when Jesus was risen early the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 devils.
So wait a minute. So when would he rise? He rose on the Sabbath, but they didn't see him till early the first day of the week. Why? Because that's when they got there.
Right.
Now, let me get the book of Luke 24:1. Back and forth through the Gospels.
The book of Luke, chapter 24, verse 1. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came unto the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared and certain others with them.
So they came when? The first day of the week, very, very early. Why are we reading this? We're gonna put the puzzle together. We're gonna make sure it's clear why we are going to this stuff. So we got the picture. We understand that he died. He died the 9th hour. That was at 3 p.m., what we would call 3 p.m. our time, right? We understand that when they came and to anoint him at the sepulchre, it was very early in the morning, and he had already been risen because he rose on the Sabbath. We understand that, and we understand the day that they came was the first day of the week, which is Sunday.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So, if So I have a question. So if he died at 3 p.m., right? And just for time's sake, let's say 6 p.m. is even. Okay? So, well, I'm sorry. Let me start over. If he died at 3 p.m., and according to their doctrine, they have until the next morning to have him buried.
Oh, see, you're going right where I'm going.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, you're going the same place I'm going. Because they came on the first day of the week, right? He said he would be in the earth 3 days and 3 nights. Did we lose our IT guy? Where's he at? Oh, where you hiding?
Right.
All right. So I want to get my eyes on you when I'm doing this. All right. So wait a minute. Wait. Go to John 19. We're going to keep going back and forth through the Gospels.
Yeah.
Go to John 19, 29.
The book of John, chapter 19, verse 29. Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth.
So this is the same event. We're reading it throughout the Gospels, correct?
Yes, sir.
Read.
When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
So he died.
The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day.
What?
The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was an high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they may be taken away.
So wait a minute. Why are they like, we got to hurry up and get him down? It's a Sabbath day. Wait a minute. He was going to be in the ground 3 days and 3 nights. He was going to rise on the Sabbath. They just had Passover. What are they talking about? And mind you, it's still Passover. It's still Passover when they're doing this. So what's happening here? Oh, this doctrine makes no sense.
Right.
They saying that before the Sabbath day, which they are preparing for at this time, is coming, that they have to get him down.
They have to.
Why do they have to get him down? What's the purpose of we have to get him down? Deuteronomy 21:22. Why? Because we keeping the laws. They like, according to our law, we have to get him down.
Deuteronomy chapter 21.
Oh no, let me get there with you, brother.
Verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day.
Wait, what?
But thou shalt in any wise bury him that day.
You have to bury him that very same day. So wait a minute. Now, according to their doctrine, the holy days, high holy days, and regular days have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Nothing at all. So when we understood that Passover began at even, then they went through all the night. They took him to Pilate in the morning time when it began daylight, right?
Right.
Then he was crucified at, what was the hour again?
Well, let's say 3 p.m.
He was
He's crucified before that.
9th hour.
6th hour.
The 6th hour.
Then, which is noon, he was crucified at the 6th hour, which is noon, and died at 3 p.m., which is the 9th hour, right? We good?
Yes.
Everybody good?
Gotcha.
All right. Wait a minute. But according to their doctrine, when the sun came up, that was a new day. So they already, why are they rushing him? They already broke the law anyway, and they let him stay up there all of that time.
Right.
They were supposed to get him off of that cross when it was still dark. Or, no, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Because their argument would be they would have all the way until it gets light again to get them in the ground, right?
Yeah.
But they preparing for Passover though.
Uh-oh.
So why are they like, we got to hurry up and get them off of that now? 24 hours has not passed yet, understand?
Right.
Meaning Passover started that night at the first hour of the night. Through all of that, by the 12th hour of the night, he was already getting in the process of being handed over to Pilate. Then between the first hour of the day, now he's being given over to Pilate by the, what hour is it again? Third hour? Third hour, he's going up on the cross, and by the 6th hour.
The 6th hour.
6th hour is when he went on the cross. Third hour, now he's dead, not the 9th hour. Now it's 3 p.m. But he went up. They had Passover night, which starts at what? The first hour of the night, because it starts at even, right?
Correct.
You going throughout the night. He had all the stuff transpire, the praying 3 times, the disciples falling asleep, being betrayed, taken to the scribes, Pharisees, and chief priests, right? Persecuted throughout the night. Taken, now that's the 12th hour of the night. Cock crows something about 2 hours, over 2 hours before it even gets light. Right. And Peter has already denied him 3 times in the same day, which is still Passover.
Correct.
We good?
Good. Same day.
Then it's still the same day, right?
Right.
Now we get to the morning of the same day, and now he's taken before Pilate. Pilate goes ahead and says, you know what? We're going to go ahead and crucify him, which is about noon, which I forget which hour that is at noon. Go back. Let me see the clock again just to make sure.
The 6th hour.
6th hour. There we go. Help me out, brothers. 6th hour, that's noon, and he dies at 3 p.m., which is the 9th hour, right?
Right.
We on point? We understand?
Yep.
It's the same day. It hasn't been 24 hours yet. We had 12 hours of the night, but right now we in the 3rd or the 9th hour of the day. Wait, there's still some more time left in this day.
Right.
Let's see what else is going on here. So let's go back to where was we at? John 19?
Yep, John 19.
Let's get back to that.
Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished." He bowed his head and gave up the ghost. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day.
Because of the law. But why? Because the new Sabbath day is starting at night. What is that? It's a high day. What is it? The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So you had Passover that night, and this night that's coming up, right, while he's on the cross dead, they're saying, listen, the first day of unleavened bread is coming, a Sabbath, a high day. We have to get him off the cross before then, because that's going to begin another day, which would be what? A full 24-hour period. Come on. So, not for it. So we read the law on that, right?
Yes.
He has to be taken down that very same day. And within 24-hour period, they were trying to get him down and buried in that same very day. They were following the law.
That's why he's begging for the body.
Right. That's why you had Joseph of Arimathea went and begged for the body of Jesus.
Right.
Right? Because he knew the law. He was a Pharisee. He like, no. You know, and secretly he was already following Christ.
That's right.
But he's like, no, I know the law. We cannot leave him up there.
Right.
We had to get him down. I put him in my sepulcher.
Right.
Okay. And then so now, wait a minute. We got some problems with this doctrine again. We have the problems with this doctrine. Once again. Let's go back to where they're going. Matthew 28:1.
The book of Matthew.
Read it. Like that one brother was on, he called into the radio show. Oh, Matthew 28:1. Brother, get off of the phone. You
All right. Quit playing on the phone.
I'm talking to you. You don't know what you talking about, man. Come on.
Matthew chapter 28, verse 1.
And they keep acting like somebody won't touch this scripture.
Right.
Oh, we're going to dance and tap all around this. We're going to get this scripture. We're going to go back around the scripture. We're going to go before the scripture, come back to the scripture. We're not scared of the scripture. You don't understand this scripture. You don't understand none of the scriptures. Sit back, be quiet, learn. Come on.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So when they got there, it began to dawn. What is that? It's still dark. Just like John said. He said, wait a minute, when it was yet dark.
Indistinguishable.
It was indistinguishable between that and night. Wait a minute, wait. So, okay. So now, what's happening? What's happening here? Let's go to John 20:1. Oh, we're gonna keep hitting these scriptures. This is what they think we're gonna run away from. We're gonna run to them.
Back.
The book of John, chapter 20, verse 1. The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark.
Oh, so now we should understand that. We shouldn't be confused with dawn anymore, right? It's yet dark. It's still dark. But guess what it also is? Very early in the morning.
Right. At the same time?
At the same damn time.
Okay.
Thanks, watch this. Get Matthew. No. Let's get John 14:33 real quick. 1 Corinthians 14:33. I don't know what's wrong. I do not understand the demon that's on these brothers and sisters that's making them believe this. But out of all of the dumb doctrines, all the dumb doctrines, at least that I've experienced in this truth, this is the least scriptural, dumbest doctrine of all. And then when you hear the understanding and breakdowns that they give, they don't even deal with scriptures that pertain to a day. They just see something that says, oh, it was night. Oh, it was morning. A man doesn't work at night. A lion goes out at nighttime, and the animals do their thing at night, and the man come out. What? That is not telling you the length of a day.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it.
Right.
And then you got these people sitting around talking about, oh, there were 72 scriptures. No, you got 72 scriptures. I don't care if you got 2,000 scriptures if you're not using them properly. If you didn't understand any of the scriptures, what difference does it make how many you have? So now we're correcting your use of these scriptures. We're going to put them right back in the proper order. Now, give me that, because this is what's happening.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion.
God is not the author of confusion. That is confusion with the 12-hour day. And then I'm trying to figure out how do you rectify it after it does the 12-hour day? Because the even or saying that the high holy days begin at even, are you saying that these days run concurrently? I don't know.
Sir.
All right. So now let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
So wait a minute. I gotta go back. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I gotta go back. Give me that again in John 19. And let me get 31. One more time. I have to go back. It must be done. Because if we don't nail this point home, I mean, I don't want to give them no room to wiggle. You know what I mean? John 19, 31.
The book of John, chapter 19, verse 31. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for the Sabbath day was in high day, for that Sabbath day was in high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away.
So wait a minute. So according to the law in Deuteronomy chapter 21, 22 to 23, he has to be taken down that very same day, right? We know that he was in the ground 3 days and 3 nights, just like Jonah, and we also know that he would rise on the Sabbath. Based upon that information, I made a calendar. Pull up the calendar. Because you can easily make this calendar because you know the information about the events. We know that Passover came, right? Passover is when? The 14th night of the first month, which is the 15th day.
Yeah.
So that means you have to you have to have that fall on the 14th night, which is the 15th day, right? At even, right, the 14th day at even. Where the calendar at? Blow it up. Blow it up one more. All right, so now it has to fall there. So you can start there. You know that that's the 14th at even. And then you know you need 3 days and 3 nights for him to be in the ground, and you know he has to rise on the Sabbath. So with that information, you can build your calendar, right? So I built the calendar. So now, the 14th day at even is the beginning of, that's when they ate, they went through the whole night. The 15th day in the morning time is when he was being persecuted and then he got crucified. 3 p.m. in that same 15th is when he died, right? And then they took him and buried him because they had to because of the law in Deuteronomy chapter 21. He has to be buried that very same day, correct?
Correct.
All right. So when did they bury him? They buried him on the 15th. They had to bury him before it got dark, because when it got dark, the 15th at even is what? The Feast of Unleavened Bread. So wait a minute, wait. He was 3 days and 3 nights in the ground, right? So at the 15th at even, that's the first day, the first night that he's in the ground. That's the first night. The 16th was the second night, and then it also was the first of day. Right? So now you got the 17th. The 17th was the third night, or was the third day. I can't see it. Blow that up. There we go, because it's at an angle. But you got your third night, right? And that's your second day. So guess what's going to happen? On the 18th is what? When he's going to rise, which is what? The Sabbath. And he raised up when? That day. So he was in there 3 nights and 3 days. So he rose up on the Sabbath, right? So watch this. Now let's get something. So wait a second. Where am I at?
John.
Right. I just want to see something. So that was his 3 days, his 3 nights, rose on the Sabbath, right? And the Mary showed up what? They showed up on the first day, right? The very first day, which would be what? The 19th. They show up on the 19th. But it was still dark. They showed up on the first day of the week when it was still dark, very early in the morning, and that's when they saw Jesus the Christ. So that's why you have to understand the times. When did he die? When did this happen? So now you can look at it on the calendar and you can see that everything is fulfilled. But any other way, that means some of these days you don't get a whole 24 hours in a day, according to the way they do it. So you would never end up with the way it's supposed to be, because they said that the Sabbath starts in that morning, right? So morning to morning. So that means when they said they got there and it was dark and it was the 7th day, no, because they would have already been there. They got there before it was there the 7th day, the day that they said, I said 7th, the first.
First, right.
That's off now. Why? Because they showed up when it was still dark.
Yep.
Y'all saying the day doesn't start till it's light. But they clearly told you they got there and it was this time. It was at this point.
First day.
They got there at the first day.
And it was still dark.
Yeah. So they let you know. It had not turned to daylight yet.
Right.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute. So they came in. That's why I got that half of it darked out. It was still during that point when they got there.
Right.
I just don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I got something twisted up. I don't know. But that's your 3 days. That's your 3 nights. He rose on the Sabbath day, which is the 18th. Now, each one of these days are contained in 24 hours. I don't know how they working it with the 12-hour days. I have no idea how that's coming together. I'm confused. I'm lost. So, now, let's go back. Where I want to go. Oh, I got to get this. So, we was just reading. Let's read it one more time. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. I want to go straight to verse 5.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
The evening and the morning were the first day. He letting you know that it's the evening and the morning. You got 12 hours in the night, 12 hours in the day, and that completes a 24-hour cycle. Also, it started with what? The evening. Right. Wait a minute. Just like when we went back to the calendar and we saw that it started what? In the evening. When he went in the ground, it started when? In the evening. Because that's when he had to get in there before that night. Right. So that concluded, or that started his first night. And then he didn't get the first day until the next day. And then he had a day and a night in that day. You understand?
It's 12 hours a night, 12 hours a day. Which makes a whole day.
Now you have a whole day. But it starts when? At night.
At evening or at night.
Exactly. So now let's go somewhere else that they're confused about. So they confused, God said the evening and the morning is the first day. They saying, no, brother told me that, no, he didn't create the sun yet. So you trying to tell me that God, the day don't exist, that God said it existed because you said that that's not a day now? Or this is a mistranslation? Or the Bible is wrong? Are you really serious? And this is your explanation? This is you saying, I'm going to explain this. Bible wrong. See? Explain. Done. Okay. Let's go to, watch this. There was another one. Leviticus 23. We're going to start in verse 1, though. Because I was talking to one of the brothers, and I'm like, listen, so how do y'all deal with this doctrine? How do you deal with Leviticus 23? And he's like, yeah. Actually, I'm not even going to speak on that. I'm going to let him speak for himself. Let the brother speak for himself. I don't want nobody to say I'm putting words in his mouth. Okay, read from verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
What is our first day of a month, or what is the first day of our year, which is the first day of the month of Passover? That's the first day of our year, right? Our year starts with Passover, right? And they said, so I'm talking to one of them, and they're telling me that, oh, well, Leviticus 23 is dealing with feast days, right? They said that's only feast days. That has nothing to do with the 7-day Sabbath, right? But I'm read from verse 2 one more time.
Verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
Okay.
6 days shall work be done.
What feast days is this? What's this? Read.
6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest.
Wait a minute. What feast day is this? They said this only deals with feast days. What feast day that tells you you have to work 6 days and then on the seventh is the Sabbath of rest? No, that's not. No. It's letting you know right there. This is the 7-day Sabbath.
Right.
And it goes and it works just like the rest of these days. Read.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Now drop down to 26 in the same chapter. So now we read about Passover, there's other high holy days in there, but I want to skip toward to this particular high holy day. Start 26.
Verse 26. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Wait a minute. It began in verse 27, and it said the 10th day of this 7th month. Then, still talking about the exact same high holy day, it said the 9th day at even.
Right.
And I asked the brother, I said, listen, what does this mean? I don't want to put words in the brother's mouth. Give me that thing I got. Should say Jordan 1
Exhibit A.
or Jordan 3. Pull that up.
Yes, but verse 19, it says, then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week. It said it so clear, I'm like, dang, why would it even put that? Why didn't it just say, then at evening they did this? It let you know, no, it's still the same day, being the first day of the week. When the sun went down that evening, it was still the first day.
So let me ask this then. Read Leviticus 23. And then I want you to explain this with that understanding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, read from 27 down to 32. Now, this don't get it. I don't know what the book.
Yes, and this is what I was reading on meditate too. You said 27?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Chapter 23, verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month.
on the 10th day, remember that, it's the 10th day is the day of atonement. Read it.
There shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to the Lord.
Now jump down to verse 32.
Verse 32. And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. Ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even.
In the 9th day, it's 2 separate days. It's telling you, look, this is how you celebrate the Day of Atonement. Don't say Sabbath with an S. Say this is how you celebrate the Day of Atonement because it's a feast day. We still eat on that day, but you're gonna start your at evening. It don't say, the 10th day. Because if the 10th day...
No, wait. This brother is explaining that the Day of Atonement is 2 separate days. The 9th at even is one of them, and then the 10th day is a whole different one. But on that one that started at the 9th at even, you can eat. I don't know what scriptures they read. And they telling you, oh, you better study, brother. You don't see it. I see it. Now, he said that out of his own mouth. That this is the doctrine. This is the doctrine. So wait a minute. Now, I didn't put words in his mouth. Now it's 2 separate days to the Day of Atonement. One that starts at the 9th at even, and one that starts on the 10th when it's sunny outside. Okay. So how did you get that partial day, and then how you live with the other partial day? I don't understand. I'm sorry. But because I'm like, all right, well, I want to hear the brother out. I want to explain. I want to produce his cause. Let me see what else he got to say. So we continue to go back and forth, and, I'm like, all right. He going to say some more stuff. I'm going to skip him for a second. Because I watched the video with them other brothers talking about the Sunrise Sabbath. And he went to Psalms 104. I think he started in verse 20. Let me look at it. Psalms 104. Get that for me. And I'm like, okay, trying to see, what do you got? Yeah, he started at verse 20.
The book of Psalms, chapter 104, and verse 20. Psalms, chapter 104, and verse 20. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey and seek the meat.
Seek
their meat, and seek their meat from God. The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together, and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth into his work, into his labor, until the evening.
Wait a minute. So, okay, the lions and the beasts, they creep around at night, and he's saying that man came out when the sun. What does this tell you anything about how a day works? But this is what he pulled. Then, they give you a lot of crosstalk. And see, and think about it like this. And wait a minute. No. This has nothing to do with the topic at hand at all. But what I found so funny is that they started in verse 20. Had you started up one verse in the verse 19, you would have got some better understanding. But they said, no. We're not going to read 19. We're going to skip over that and read from 20 on down. And then tell you all this other, I don't even know what to call it. Let's tell you this other stuff. And no. Well, let's read 19. Let's read the verse that he skipped.
Psalms, chapter 104, verse 19. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down.
He appointed the moon for seasons. The moon for seasons. If you're talking about time, why didn't you start with this? You came to this to talk about time. Why didn't you start with verse 19? Why? Because that opens the door to questions. The moon. How does the moon work? Oh, it's a new moon. When the moon begins a new day. The first day of that month. When does it happen? At night. I got a problem with my doctrine. Let me skip that scripture. The doctrine not working right now. Doctrine broke down on me. Let's go to Sirach 43.
The book of
Sirach. Where he should have been taking them and saying, wait a minute, listen, this doctrine makes no sense.
All right.
I'm bringing this out without counsel. Let me just sit down. Stop it. That no. And then you never make the video. This confusion doesn't go out, but it's clear. Sirach 43.
The book of Sirach.
Oh, let me get my 1 second. Bear with me. I want to read along. "72 scriptures."
What is that, 72?
That's what they're saying. They're saying, no, but they had 72 scriptures. 72.
Who's that 72?
I guess they used, I couldn't watch the video. It didn't make sense to me.
Oh, they had 72 to prove it?
I guess, but there was stuff like this. There was stuff that had nothing to do with the topic.
All right,
It says something about darkness, so they say, yeah, see?
The beast
Dark.
go to the feet.
And it says something about sun, and yeah, read that. But it has nothing to do with the topic. And then the fools that hate knowledge follow it. Go ahead.
Sirach chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times.
And what does the moon do? It declares time. It declares time. Come on.
And a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feasts. A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Meaning the perfection is when it's full. Then it decreases from that point. It decreases from the perfection, which is a full moon, right? Come on.
From the moon is a sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
So I asked the brother about this. I said, listen, inside of your doctrine, how do you deal with this? Now give me that. It should say Jordan. Might just say Jordan 3. I'm not sure what it says, but give me the next one. All right, whatever. We'll see.
The beginning of everything, like a month, this, that, what it starts with? The new moon, right?
Yes.
So how does it start with the new moon?
And the moon is full.
How do you know that?
Because you can see it.
How can you see it?
Because you're looking at it every day. You see
No, I'm
it.
saying, how do I see it? I don't see it when it's bright sun outside. Do I see it
You
full
can see it
moon?
the day before.
No. I saw it at night. It's not a new moon the night before. It's a new moon the night of.
Yes.
So it started in its perfection at night. And that's the beginning of the week. That month starts right there.
Yes.
So I mean, every week is based upon that. So I started off with the new moon, right? It was dark.
Yes.
And it went from what? Dark until it was dark again. That was the day. So that means that new moon day started when the new moon came. Read that. It's Rock 43.
And then,
Yeah.
was making me think it.
Because these things that I still haven't heard anybody explain in that new doctrine, how does this work? So inside of this, if the new moon is the beginning of the month, starts when it's dark. That's the beginning of the month, that's the beginning of that day. How does it work after that?
Because,
So, I'm gonna read it, you explain your inside of this.
Sirach chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her chamber, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
yes.
So how did it, read it again so you can explain it?
I can explain it.
Oh, I thought you might want to read it like this.
Yeah. So I understand the full moon. And I don't know what scripture, but David was talking to Jonathan. He was like, tomorrow is the new moon. He knew that the new moon was tomorrow, even though it wasn't the new moon, because you could watch the moon progress until you know, well, tomorrow is going to be the new moon. The moon is going to be at full.
When is it gonna start? It's gonna start when the new moon actually happens, right?
Yes, and
That's
that's
when it is gonna happen, at night.
At night.
So that means the
And
start
that
of the
makes
new
perfect
moon
sense.
is that day when it starts at that night.
and that made perfect sense.
So, wait a minute. I'm confused. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm not confused. They confused. Because how is it going to start at that day? And that's the beginning of that day. But you can hear the confusion. So I'm like, all right. That's the first and second admonition. Now I got to reject you. Because what you're saying makes no sense. It's not scripturally sound. And that's the problem with this doctrine. It's not scripturally sound. It's not accurate. So now, watch this. So give me the last one I got on that. Because he said more. I want everybody to hear the rest of the explanation.
Yes, and that's
That's when is it gonna happen? At night.
At night.
So that means the
And it
start of
makes
the new
perfect
moon
sense.
is that day when it starts at that night.
And that made perfect sense. But the confusion is
So by knowing that it was not the Sabbath when the sisters came, what's the issue?
this.
After
What
knowing that.
This I want to go to scripture. So we know they came early in the morning on the first day of the week.
Correct.
And this is where what precept is making sense. John chapter 20, verse 1.
the first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, so we know it was early. When it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and see the stone taken away from the sepulchre. All the other scriptures tell us it was the first day of the week, early in the morning. Verse 19. Then the same day at evening. It says the same day at evening, being the first day of the week. So in the morning they went to the sepulchre on the first day, and now it's evening.
So this is what he's saying. Let's deal with it. Let's go to John 20 and 1. John 20 and verse 1.
The book of John, chapter 20 and verse 1. The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark.
When it was what?
When it was yet dark.
When she got there, it was dark. Come on.
Unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre.
So then they pull up this on me. Go to verse 19.
1929.
Same chapter, verse 19.
Oh, excuse me. Verse 19. Then the same day at even, being the first day of the week.
The same day at even is the first day of the week. Come on.
When the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst and saith unto them, Peace be unto you.
Peace be unto you. That's what he said when he sat in the midst of them and they was talking, right? And it was when? It was the same day at evening. The very same day at evening is when this happened, right? All right. You sure?
Being the first day.
Right, which is the first day of the week. This is when all of this is happening. Now let's get another account. Let's go to Luke 24 and 27.
The book of Luke, chapter 24 and verse 27.
At even, being the first day.
And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village, whither they went. And he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent. And he went.
It was what?
The day is far spent.
Back before that?
Abide with us, for it is toward evening.
It was toward evening. I mean, it wasn't there yet. It was toward evening. Go ahead.
And the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it, and brake and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. And they said one to another, Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures?
Drop down to 36.
Verse 36. And as they thus spake, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you.
So this is the same account, right? He when they was sitting there and they was eating their meat, and he told them, Peace be unto you. So this is another account of the same event. But guess what's happening? This one said it was toward evening.
Right.
29 again.
Verse 29. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening.
I mean, it wasn't evening yet. It had not yet made it to evening. Why? Because evening or dusk works the same way as dawn. When you look at the chart, it shows that there's astronomical dusk, nautical dusk, and civil dusk. It's the same thing in reverse. When the sun's going down, it's the reverse of when it came up. And it's going to decrease going towards astronomical dusk, then into night. Same exact thing, going in opposite direction. So I'm confused. I don't understand what they're saying in this doctrine. Now, go back. What did you say you want to bring up that other one?
Where were we?
We were at
We were back
Luke
at what,
24, 37.
No, when you,
No,
when
where's
you
that?
just simply,
John
I'm
20.
sorry, when you just go back to John 20 and 19.
The book of John, chapter 20, verse 19. Then the same day at evening,
So at evening,
being the first day of the week.
bam. That's it. Read it 2 more times.
Then the same day at evening,
The same day at evening,
being the first day of the week.
that's the first day of the week. The next day just started. Y'all get it? It's simple as that. It's easy reading. Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst and said unto them, Peace be unto you.
Okay.
Right. So now I want to go to pull up that calendar again for me, and go back to Leviticus 23. Because I also put something on the calendar dealing with this. All right. See, on the calendar I got the 9th, and that's why it's half slash to show that the evening, that's when it started, the Day of Atonement, and which is actually considered the 10th. And if you go from, if you see the points between 8 and 10 on there, and it's the half at the 9, you see it's the halfway mark, that's a full 24-hour period, meaning that's a complete day, and it started in that evening. So where is he getting the time for a whole another high holy day? I do not understand. So read Leviticus 23, read 26 again. Uh, 27, I mean.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23.
23 and 27.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Drop down to 32.
Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. The 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
And that's how our days go, from even unto even. From even unto even. That's the 9th day at even is the 10th day. It's very plain, very easy to understand. I don't understand why they don't understand it, but it's very clear. So if it's still not clear to you, then go forth and prosper. Keep your days the way you want to keep it. And that's it. Lord willing, we'll see you in the kingdom.
Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are the Israelites. That's right. Take care of us. Take care of us. And our children too. And our children too. We have repented. We have repented. How about you? How about you? People want to know who's the king.
O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sound wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.